Namaskar, I am Deepak Jain, Director General, Federation of Indian Industry. We are working towards bringing a paradigm shift in the face of Indian industry. We are working with skill-based, knowledge-based, idea-based industry to create a robust, self-reliant Indian economy. Federation of Indian Industry, creating opportunities, building nation.
Now it is time for me to introduce our today's very distinguished speaker, Major General G.D. Bakshi, who is a decorated with Sena Medal, Vishisht Seva Medal, and is a retired Indian Army officer. He is from Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, and he was awarded the Vishisht Seva Medal for commanding a battalion in Kargil War. Later, he was awarded the Sena Medal for his distinguished services in commanding a battalion during counter-insurgency drives, and he has led so many operations in J&K and he succeeded in suppressing the armed militancy in this area. He has served 2 tenures at the Director General of Military Operations, and he was the first BGS IW at Headquarter Northern Command India, where he dealt with information warfare and psychological operations. He is often called, we often see him on various news channels across India. He keeps on sharing his views on topics relating to military defense and other important issues. And today we will have very special occasion also to witness his launch of his book Thunder Dragon also. So I would like to take this opportunity to now invite Major General G.D. Bakshi to address the participants and also give an introduction insight about his book also. Major General G.D. Bakshi, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Uh, the corona pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic has been a kind of a black swan event, the like of which has not been seen in the last 100 years. And over 200 million people, 202 was the figure about a day or two back, have been infected. About 4.3 billion people are dead. Globally, the global economy has taken a hit of $2 trillion, and whole sectors of the industry and business have been devastated. The tourism, the travel, the hospitality industry have been devastated by this pandemic. Even industry has taken a knock. It's only now that we are showing signs of recovery and trying to bounce back to normal, but it has been a great disrupting event. The simple fact is, in India itself, we have had about 3.5 crore people infected, and about 3 crores people are dead. Sorry, 3 lakh people are dead. 3.5 crores infected, 3 crores people have died out of this black swan event. So the question is, who is responsible? How did it happen? How do we ensure that it doesn't hit all of us again and again and again? You see, there is, when the thing started, the presidential campaign was on in the United States. And in the heat and dust of that presidential campaign, people could not get together, and come to a very rational kind of a conclusion. Though President Donald Trump and his cabinet colleagues were saying this has originated in a lab in Wuhan, in China. This is a genetically engineered virus. It has possibly accidentally escaped from there. But the simple fact of the matter is that he was poo-pooed. It was said that, oh, this is just, what shall we call it? This is alarmist. This is trying to paint China in very nefarious colors. And then there was a paper published in the Lancet magazine. The Lancet magazine, as you are aware, is the most prestigious magazine, of the medical fraternity. 27 scientists got together to publish this paper saying this is a natural coronavirus, natural epidemic, zoonotic epidemic, which has originated from the wet market in Wuhan. Now, the simple fact is, at that time, because of this paper, gave it a lot of respectability to this view that this is a natural epidemic. Now, the whole theory of a natural epidemic, there are a whole lot of holes being picked in this theory. First of all, sorry. Hello. Can I continue?
Yeah, please, sir. request
Acha,
everyone to please keep your microphone on in mute mode. Ramesh
thank
ji.
you, thank you.
Yeah.
So, at that stage, there was this uh, at that stage, there was this respectability given to this zoonotic theory. But now they are saying that no bats are sold in the Wuhan market. If no bats are sold, how did the bat coronavirus originate from there? The nearest bats are sold 550 kilometers away, or are found 550 kilometers away in the caves of Nanjing. So how did they come to this thing? How did they come to the Wuhan wet market? Number two, all the viruses, all the epidemics so far have an intermediary host. If the bat coronavirus is the primary host, then, for example, in the SARS virus, the civet cats were found to be the intermediary host, and this link was found in 4 months after the outbreak of SARS epidemic. When the MERS epidemic started, it took them 8 months, but they realized that the jump had taken place from bats to camels to humans. So the fact of the matter is, till today, 20 months plus after the outbreak of the virus, no intermediary host has been found. And now a number of scientists have gotten together to say this cannot be a natural epidemic, because it has all the signs of a laboratory made epidemic. And of this I will talk more in detail a little later. Now the other facet that I would like you to remember is the original Lancet paper, based upon which all the scientists, 27 scientists, said this is a bat coronavirus, this is a natural virus, zoonotic virus. You know who was the leader of this group? Peter Daszak. Now this gentleman, Peter Daszak, is a very interesting fellow. He is the CEO of Eco Health Frontiers, right? This is an NGO which has been providing money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology from the National Institute of Health. We had given it a grant to carry out the gain of function research on bat coronaviruses. Please don't forget that this research was being carried out till 2014 in the United States in the Maryland laboratory. Then it was shut because this was a gain of function virus in which you try and anticipate nature. So they said, if this virus that you are making, souped up virus, upgraded virus that you are making in the lab leaks out, the danger that you are talking will threaten us. You are creating it. And if it leaks out, we are done for. So this research was banned by President Obama from 2014 to 2017. In that period, Dr. Fauci very cleverly said, please outsource this research to third world countries like China, like Vietnam, etc. Now, this same Peter Daszak was the man who paid the Wuhan Institute of Virology to carry out this bat coronavirus related research. How then could he sit in judgment on the Wuhan Institute of Virology? This same gentleman was then part of the UNESCO team which went to investigate the origin of the virus. And in March this year, he gave a clean chit to China. This man should have recused himself on the basis of conflict of interest. If I have had financial dealings with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, how can I be an objective examiner? You know, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, the simple fact is that things are not as simple. The Chinese military has been showing a serious interest in biological warfare for quite a few years now. In 2015, there was one Zhu Dezhang. He was a Chinese Air Force virologist, People's Liberation Army Air Force virologist, who led a team of 18 scientists, and he did a study on biological warfare. Some of the conclusions that he came to are amazing. The first conclusion he said is that the SARS virus is genetically engineered in a laboratory. It is not natural, and it has been made specifically to target China. Now, ladies and gentlemen, whether this is true or this is not true does not matter so much. What matters is that this finding was presented to the Chinese top leadership, Xi Jinping and downwards in the Central Military Commission. 24 presentations this group made to the top Chinese leadership. And they are convinced that China is the victim of biological warfare. So, when you say that you are the, excuse me, 1 minute. बेटा मैं एक सेमिनार में हूँ, बोलो 4 बजे, ओके थोड़ी देर के लिए आ जाओ. Sorry. So as I was saying, the second conclusion that they came to was that, bat corona and these biological warfare viruses can be freeze-dried and now preserved for a long time. Therefore, if you want to launch a biological attack, nobody can trace it back to you. You freeze-dry the virus, you store it. When you want to use it, you mix it with frozen food and you take it with you, to Delhi, Mumbai, anywhere. Leave it in a restaurant, leave it in a laboratory, leave it wherever you want, and it will spread like wildfire. Nobody will be able to catch who did it. And number 3, this can torpedo, this can derail the medical system of a country, as ours almost got derailed a few months back with the second wave. Right? So they said this is ideal for biological warfare. Who is saying this? The Chinese military is saying this. Now they did not stop only at theory. The Wuhan Institute of Virology is run by 2 Chinese generals. Major General Shi Zhengli. She is called the Bat Woman of China and she is an expert on bat coronaviruses. Right? The second is Chen Wei, Major General Chen Wei. Both these are major generals. Please tell me, is the AIIMS run by army generals? It is run by civilian doctors. In all countries, such antiviral programs, etc., are run by civilian doctors. Why is the Chinese army involved? Please tell me. Why are they running the Wuhan Institute of Virology? Is the basic question. 2 major generals. Now that it doesn't stop that the generals are heading it. The generals are doing research there. In 2015 itself, Major General Shi Zhengli had published 4 papers. How to splice the SARS hook molecule onto the backbone of the bat coronavirus. You see, how does a virus attach to you? By the hook molecule. If it doesn't have the hook molecule, it is not transmissible to humans. It will not come and attach onto your cells. So what she suggested is take out the hook molecule of the SARS, attach it to the bat coronavirus of COVID-19, and you have got a new virus. And then she did that in the laboratory. By November 2015, she had created the COVID virus in the Chinese laboratory, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chinese army had done this. And they had possibly discovered the antidotes and the what is called the vaccines to this also around that time. So this is extremely suspicious. In 2017, the official military doctrine of the People's Republic of China, which is called the Science of Military Strategy, a new edition was brought out with a new chapter on biological warfare. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, China is a signatory to the Biological Warfare Convention banning biological warfare. How then can she in the official doctrine talk of biological warfare? The world should have raised an alarm, but people kept quiet. And China has today felt emboldened to actually do it. What is critical is the Chinese belief that they are victims of biological warfare. As such, they are justified in retaliating in kind. Right? Now, another very interesting story has happened, which you must understand. In 2012, 6 Chinese workers were sent to clean a disused copper mine in Wuhan. It was full of bats. and it was full of bad shit, right? They went there and they came out sick with a new type of pneumonia in 2012 with lung patches on the X-ray very similar to COVID-19. Immediately when Dr. Shi Zhengli heard this, she had sent her team of virologists there, and those doctors collected 286 bat corona samples. This is the same sample which later became the basis, backbone of COVID-19. Same sample. So now you have the smoking gun as to how exactly it was made. Where did it start from? Ladies and gentlemen, in September 2018, the World Military Games were held in Wuhan. Then the Chinese ministry spokesman accused the Americans of releasing viruses, the bat coronaviruses there in Wuhan, in the wet market. They said the American Special Forces team came and did it. This was their bahana. In November 2019, 3 Chinese scientists at the Wuhan Institute of Virology fell sick with a disease very similar to corona, but they hid it. They didn't tell anybody. The first patient that the Chinese admitted to, which is called patient 0, was on 8th of December 2019. Just that same month, 28th February, the Chinese military, the Chinese Navy sends the aircraft carrier to the Straits of Taiwan and the South China Sea to carry out very aggressive maneuvers. Then they go to the East China Sea against Japan and carry out very aggressive maneuvers. They threaten American carriers. And then, as you know, in March 2020, last year, they came against us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my common sense question is, a country which is facing a coronavirus, natural coronavirus pandemic, is that the time it will choose to start fighting with all its neighbors? With Vietnam, with Indonesia, with Philippines, with Malaysia, with Taiwan, with Japan, and now with India. Do you start fighting with all your neighbors when you just have had a global pandemic, as they said they had? Now, next factor. How is it that the pandemic which started in Wuhan did not spread to Beijing, which is 1,000 kilometers, and did not spread to Shanghai, which is 800 kilometers? Because the Chinese enforced a very strict lockdown. The PLA, the army, was made to enforce this lockdown. You know, and they have gone to unimaginable lengths to contain it in their own country. You know, now the point is, while they were taking these steps to control it very strongly in China, they allowed flights to fly out of Wuhan every day till March 2020 to New York, to Italy, to Europe, to India, to Japan. They allowed those flights to continue. In fact, in March 2020, the foreign minister of China, Mr. Yi, he was requesting the neighboring countries like Thailand, like Vietnam, not to close their borders because it said it affected the prestige of China. He wanted the whole world to keep the border open. They lied to the WHO. They told them this disease is not communicable from human to human. And they started getting aggressive. You see, ladies and gentlemen, there is a hell of a lot of circumstantial evidence now to show that this is not a natural virus. This was made in a lab. And now the whole world is now wearing round to the view that this was made in the lab in Wuhan and it possibly accidentally leaked out from there. There is now a third theory. It was not an accidental release. It was a staged accident. Nakli accident karaya gaya to spread this to the whole world. Because China was ready. They had the vaccine. In 2019, China made vaccination compulsory for all citizens. Compulsory. What vaccine was given, we don't know. Maybe the COVID type vaccines were given then. earlier. And then they said even if it released in China, then nobody can point fingers at China. China will say, I am the victim. Yet China ensured that it spread to the whole world by delaying information, obfuscating facts, by telling WHO in January that this is not communicable from human to human. Ladies and gentlemen, there is more than meets the eye. Nicholas Wade, a very respected scientist, has now shown us how Xi Zhengli got in touch with Professor Ralph Baric of the North Carolina University in the United States and learned from him the process of serial cultures which can disguise a virus. It will look like a natural virus. Until now, we are trying to figure out whether it was natural or man-made. And then there are a British scientist and a Swedish scientist who have said that this is an artificial virus. And you know what they have said? That if you see the hook molecule, it has been spliced on. And in the hook molecule, you will find 4 amino acids that are positively charged in head to tail. Now, all of us know basic physics or basic chemistry that positive repels. Positive charges repel. How can 4 positive charges be together unless they are artificially placed? They cannot come together in nature. They said this is an artificial virus. Ladies and gentlemen, so now we have 3 hypotheses. 1, it was a natural epidemic. It's been ruled out. 2, that it was made in a lab but leaked out accidentally. The third narrative or the third alternative hypothesis that we are giving is that it was deliberately leaked as part of a biological warfare. You please tell me, India faced the first wave. It was not very lethal. So we didn't have much damage. So we said, khatam ho gaya. We lowered our guard and the second virus came. How come there has been no mutation in China where it started? How come mutations have taken place only in India, only in UK, only in countries which are hostile to China? How come it has not happened in Pakistan or in Bangladesh? Why only in India? You know, these questions have to be asked because this is biological warfare. And if it is biological warfare, sir, who is answerable for the 4 lakh almost Indians who have died? Who will answer to their parents, mother? I know they are not in Zulu category. They are not important people. They are your and my relatives. But does that mean the Chinese can kill them and the world will do nothing? How will you stop China? I hope you know that the Wuhan Institute of Virology has 1200 viruses stored. 1200 different types of viruses. आज उन्होंने ये किया, कल वो कुछ और करेंगे, परसों कुछ और करेंगे. और सोने पे सुहागा, the Chinese have gone and established an institute of virology in Pakistan. So that not only China will be spreading biological warfare, Pakistan will start doing it to you through terrorists. So where does it all stop? अब यहाँ पे एटीट्यूड है कि हम तो गांधीयन हैं, एक गाल पे चांटा मारे दूसरी गाल आगे कर दो. अरे साहब, तो कब तक ये चलेगा? हमारे बच्चे 2 साल से स्कूल नहीं गए. Ladies and gentlemen, my simple point as a soldier is, unless you do something to deter China, to raise costs for China, they will keep doing it. They are quite happy. That is my brief presentation. Thank you very much for giving me this chance. Now in the book, we have given you this thing in a war game scenario, in a fictionalized format, so that more people take interest in it and more people read it. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I'll take them on.
Thank you so very much, Major General G.D. Bakshi sir, for that wonderful address. And in this context, what I can say that these kind of information warfare, when we have a person like you, I think India is always able to protect its interest very, very strongly and very, very much. I'm reminded of one, 2-liner couplets on what you speak and how you speak, sir. So, मेरे तकदीर से कातिब मेरी पहचान लिख देना, मेरे जिस्म के जर्रे जर्रे पे हिंदुस्तान लिख देना, इस कदर वाकिफ है कलम मेरे जज्बातों से, अगर मैं इश्क लिखना भी चाहूँ तो इंकलाब लिखा जाता है. That I think befittingly describes how you speak and what you speak. You speak your heart, sir, actually. Hats off to you, sir. I'm very delighted to share with all the participants that Major General G.D. Bakshi has, dedicated this book to his Guru Sahiban. And there is a, book launch now going to take place now. I'm requesting Chaudhary Birinder Singh ji and Deepak Jain ji to do these honors of book launch and followed by a video of book release.
या देवी आनंद दे, या देवी आनंद दे, आनंद ही आनंद दे, आनंद दे, आनंद दे, आनंद दे, आनंद दे, या देवी आनंद दे, आनंद ही आनंद दे, हमें सच्चिदानंद दे, हमें नित्यानंद दे, हमें मुक्तानंद दे, हमें प्रणवानंद दे, आनंद दे, हमें सच्चिदानंद दे, हमें नित्यानंद दे, हमें मुक्तानंद दे, हमें प्रणवानंद दे, आनंद दे। करुणामयी माँ मुझे अपने घन आनंद में समेट कर परमानंद दे, करुणामयी माँ मुझे अपने घन आनंद में समेट कर परमानंद दे, आनंद से आनंद दे, आनंद ही आनंद दे, या देवी सच्चिदानंद दे, हमें सच्चिदानंद दे, हमें नित्यानंद दे, हमें मुक्तानंद दे, हमें प्रणवानंद दे, आनंद दे, हमें सच्चिदानंद
Thank you so much, Major General G.D. Bakshi.
Thank
for
you,
being
sir.
with us. And it is indeed a privilege for FII to have witnessed your second book launch on this platform. First was Saraswati Civilization, and we are indeed privileged and honored, sir. Thank you so very much, sir.